So let's start with the numbers because that's what matters, right? Scoring points. And that's something he says. The goal of his offense is to score more points than the other guy, because if you score more points than the other guy, you're going to win your football game. And that's something that the Detroit Lions have done a lot of. And their defense has also been very good this year. But really, when you think Detroit Lions and their resurgence, you are thinking that offense. Obviously, he has helped with the renaissance of Jared Goff. Jared Goff has played at an extremely high level under Ben Johnson's tutelage, and they have scored points. And it has not been a fluke. This is not a one-year flash in the pan thing. Here are some numbers for you. In 2020, this is before Ben Johnson, the Lions were 20th in points scored. In 2021, again, before Ben Johnson, they were 25th in points scored. In 2022, he takes over as the offensive coordinator for Dan Campbell. They immediately jump to 5th in points scored. In 2023, they follow that up again with 5th place in points scored. This year, they are number 1 in points scored. So that is 3 years in a row in the top 5, and this year they are leading the pack. They are also an extremely balanced attack, which I think is important. It's not just Jared Goff and Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown. It is also Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, who have been tearing it up. They come at you both ways. They come at you truly both ways. In 2022, they are 8th in the NFL in passing yards and 11th in rushing yards. In 2023, 2nd in passing yards, 5th in rushing yards. This season, they are 5th in passing yards and 4th in rushing yards. That is a balanced attack. So that's the Bear brass. The big question in Chicago is he a leader of men?
Hold on.
To be honest,
look at my paper. I wrote leader of men ? What's his personality?
I don't know how he is in the room, but I can tell you how he is at the podium. He is not quite that same domineering, commanding personality that you get out of Thomas Brown or a Brian Flores or a Mike Tomlin. That's not his style. He's more happy-go-lucky and comfortable, but he is happy-go-lucky and comfortable. Now, it is easy to be happy-go-lucky and comfortable when your offense kicks ass. And honestly, like, you're doing a great job, right? It's easy to be comfortable when you're doing a good job. Yes, Ruthie, your hand is raised.
It's also easy to be comfortable when you have the best offensive line and the best quarterback playing at his position right now, and incredible talent at wide receiver and really good running backs. Like, he is set up to succeed because of the personnel. And to me, Alex, I don't know where one starts and where one stops.
Fair. Totally fair. Like that's
going to be the big
come
question
up
for any of these coordinators, right?
Joe Brady. Where does Joe Brady begin and Josh Allen end? That's going to be a common question. Super fair. But he is. I mean, Jared Goff, that's a big piece here as well. Jared Goff also wasn't a flash in the pan. That first year we were like, Jared Goff looks pretty good. Let's see if they can do it again. They have done it again. Jared Goff, I mean, is a new QB thanks to Ben Johnson. He's also very confident. There was something that came up after the Packers game, I believe, where they were talking about a check that happened and tendencies, and basically there was a check at the line and the Packers caught them in a run. And they were doing he said, Kenny Clark is doing this, which means he's pumping his fists up and down, which means like they know we're in a run, and we were in a run and we ran the ball, right? It was a 3rd and 5. We stuck with it. They knew what we were doing. We still got 9 yards because guess what? Even when teams know what's coming, they cannot stop it. So there's that confidence. Collaboration point. This is from another press conference he mentioned. Every week he gives the offensive line his run play sheet, and then he asks them to star their 5 favorites. And when he looks at all the favorites from all the offensive linemen, then he's able to suss out and say, okay, these are the ones I have to call this week. So he is definitely going to his players and saying, what do you love? And this is something, it's not extremely uncommon, right? Offensive coordinators talk with their players and say, hey, what do you love? What do you not love? What do we need to call? But that's an interesting way of doing it. Going to all of your offensive linemen saying, pick your favorite run plays. And then from there, he's like, okay, I gotta call these this week. So that's pretty cool. And then one last one that just really stuck out to me when I was going through his Wikipedia, he sticks places. He sticks through coaching changes. And that to me is very interesting, that he's identified as a guy that needs to stick around. So he started with the Dolphins in 2012 and stayed with the Dolphins through 2018. He started as an offensive assistant. His last job was a wide receivers coach. That's the Joe Philbin era, the Dan Campbell era, which is important, and the Adam Gase era. When Brian Flores took over in 2019, he brought over his dude, Chad O'Shea. They were guys from the Patriots. Like, that's his guy. They went way back. So he makes a change. He goes to the Lions in 2019. He's obviously still with the Lions. He started as an offensive quality coach, and now he's the offensive coordinator. So again, he started at the bottom, rose pretty much to the top, and that was Matt Patricia and Dan Campbell. So he stuck with Dan Campbell. Obviously, Dan Campbell knew him from Miami and liked him enough from Miami to say, yes, I'm going to retain you. So it's a guy who has been retained several times through coaching upheavals. And to me, that's noteworthy. If you're a guy who sticks through regime changes, sticks at places for a long time, isn't bouncing around a lot, you're obviously doing something right, in my opinion. So those are some, I didn't go over the negatives. I'm typically a good vibes guy. So those are some intriguing reasons why Ben Johnson could be a very good hire for head coach for the Chicago Bears.
Very interesting. I feel like you hit on it all. I mean, the leader of men I had written down because that's kind of the buzz phrase that someone from the Bears has leaked to every insider on the planet about this is what the Bears are looking for, quote, leader of men. There are also women in the organization, by the way. I would just like to point that out. But it's just, you wonder what that means. What does that mean? I don't know. If someone's going to be a good coach, like they're a good coach, what does leader of men mean? I was really hoping someone was going to ask that in the press conference that was cut off after 18 minutes or whatever it was.
Only 10 minutes of questions because it was 10 minutes of opening statements.
Right. 10 minutes of opening statements. Right. Great stuff, Alex Shapiro. I think that's going to be the name, right? Like, people are going to have to try and swoon Ben Johnson. And what does he think of Caleb Williams? What does he think of the McCaskey family? What does he think of Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles in the way that they've built this team? Because the Lions built their team through the trenches, and that's clearly worked out really well for them. The Bears have gone kind of outside in, and it's not going so well. And there are a lot of things at play there, but I'm curious to see what Ben Johnson thinks of the Bears too. This is not necessarily going to be a one-sided search. And I think that's something that we'll have to be keeping our eye on as well.
Absolutely. That's true. Like, it's got to be chosen on both sides because Ben Johnson is going to be in high demand, as you mentioned.